Roadblock with Mardus and wings on my raptor. Copperhead gambling snake eyes with no chatter. Chuckles plus phone book means cobras will sing. These are a few of my favorite Joe things. Original O-rings that have seen some action. Paint nicks and scuff marks with thumbs with some traction. Sky strikers with decolorized wings. These are a few of my favorite Joe things. Girls in tight leather with red cobra logos, or maybe commanders who ride in a pogo. Sorta white snowcats, no tiger striping. These are a few of my favorite Joe things. When real life bites, when the world stings, when I'm feeling sad, I simply remember my favorite Joe things, and then I don't feel so bad. Yo, Joburg, everybody. This is Steve. It's bright and early, or it's just past midnight in Australia. We are coming to you live for a change, and I'm not alone, joined by, as usual, Storm Shadow.
Oh, sorry. Hey,
It's
and
Paul.
Hey, guys.
And for now, just the two of us. Rob is kind of like that Bill Murray character. You kind of book him in inverted commas, and whether he shows up or not, it's entirely up to him. You don't know until you're actually rolling. But Paul, how are you doing, my friend?
I am good. I am very
Excellent.
good. Yeah, it's surprise, busy week and all those things, but yeah, I'm cool. I'm excited about this. It's been quite busy for us here in GI Joburg land because we've done some. Yeah, we've been on 2 other channels. This
I'm
week.
counting 3, but
3.
firstly, I see we have 13 folks so far in the chat. Welcome,
Woo, woo.
GI Joburg community. Thank you. Welcome to everyone who's watching this on the replay. Yeah, man, we kind of threatened to do this shortly after the Iconicon online convention, and we just never got around to it. But it feels good to be live again. So here we are, and we're not alone. We're joined by our third companion at long last. No, not long last at all. He's only been 2 minutes late. And mea culpa, I forgot to send him the StreamYard link. But here he is, ladies and gentlemen. It's Rob. Boom.
Hey.
Whoa.
I'm so glad you put Paul in the middle. He's got the best quality. And you guys all have these like weird like things in your mics. And like I don't have a. Do I need like
You
a sock
sound
or something?
sexy regardless, man. Hello, Rob.
Sock.
You missed out on my awesome intro, but that was courtesy of the lyricist, member of the Berg Force, codename Railroad, aka Darren Cobb, who's with us in the chats. And yeah, Julie, what's her face? Eat your heart out.
And also, don't forget closet musical score writer, Railroad.
I was so nervous going through that. Don't screw up. I think I screwed up a little bit. But anyways, thanks very much.
It sounded really good.
I thought so too.
You're too kind. All right. So new shit right out the gate.
Ooh, you got the
Whoa.
sheets. Nice.
That's a really cool
Skeletron
t-shirt.
So nice.
Yeah, man.
Damn, dude.
Ben got a hold of us and said, you guys need some t-shirts. So he hooked us up, and they're terrific. And I'm hanging on to yours, gents. Keeping them warm.
I was about to say, it seems that the postage gets to Australia faster than to South Africa.
Well, I think we have the South African t-shirt embargo to thank for that. So I'm going to keep yours for safekeeping because
COVID t-shirts.
No,
getting
not just that,
t-shirts
just
into
t-shirts
SA,
fake.
they just slap a huge tax on them, don't they?
Yep.
Anyways,
Ridiculous.
Rob, how the hell are you, dude? It's been a while.
Yeah, no, I'm doing good. It's a nice, cool day here today, thankfully. I mean, it's supposed to be summer, or at least we're entering summer, but it's not too bad, thank goodness. Yeah,
It's pissing with rain here, so if you hear a sudden... That's not my shitty microphone, it's...
Yeah, but I don't think we'll hear
God
that. Your
pissing.
mic is good.
If
You got a good mic.
All
Yeah,
right,
dude,
so
you
let's
got a whole
do a
setup
shout
going
outs
on
to
there.
everyone in the chats. We've got the
need to get a
Sarge
better
is
mic.
here, Emmanuel, Chris from Chasing Eddie's Toys. I see Matthew Comstock is joining us. Mike, the Photo Viper, is in the Hizay. Darren, of course. Well done. It's nice and early for Darren, I'm afraid.
So much taller than you guys.
Are you now? Gaz, you here? I'm scrolling as fast as I can. Who else has a shout out? Outback, fantastic. Hello, Stuart Selkirk's been there. His Cody's here.
No way.
And I think I'm caught up with the chat, unless I missed someone. Oh, Andrew. Greetings, Andrew. And Manny17B. Good morning, gentlemen. Cool. All right. We're here. We're locked in. We're ready to roll. Gents, usual segment, if you please. Any new shit? Folks in the chat, feel free to chime in. If you got some new toys, we'll throw it up on the screen. Yeah, it's good to be live.
Yep, still nothing new. Nothing new. I'm sitting on all my old stuff. Oh my god, my hundreds of old Joes. There they are. This is my amazing system.
Oh, cool.
That I use to store my Joes.
I use a similar cataloging system myself.
Let's see that, Robbie. There's a tour of your
Show us your box.
Of my shelf. Okay, well, this is
Show us
my
your box.
shelf. So, well, this is this box. You know,
easier
you
to
just
rummage
keep
around
everything
and
up.
grab a guy.
It is
out
so
of
much
there.
easier. I mean, thankfully, I think there's only one Joe that kind of has died from this, but I think he died from before, you know, like kind of, it's
Oh,
Target.
Target.
Yeah.
Oh.
Why does your
Oh,
Destro
well,
have
thank-
white gloves?
Because he's Destro.
It's a special edition.
He's
GI
Destro.
Joe, you know.
Comic 3-pack Destro that I think it was issue 19.
Is that
I
the
think
no
so,
prints
yeah.
on my head edition?
Yeah.
Because-
No, it was, you know, he's worried about COVID. That's why he's got the mask on and he's got the gloves on.
Ah,
And he,
okay.
you know, he sanitizes very often.
Oh,
yeah,
yeah.
so it's just a selection of all the Joes, and here's the scoop I got in America.
Yes.
Nice.
My American
His
scoop.
mic.
$10.
Yep, he actually comes with his mic. It's can't you believe it's $10 for a scoop? It's
That's
so
why I
expensive
have
these days, you know?
arguments. That's why local guys are like, "How much you want to pay for the?" Like they're like, "Oh, it's this." And I'm like, "What is your offer?" I'm like, $150. I'm like, "No." I'm
You're
like,
like, "No."
"Well, then keep it."
It's not gonna happen.
I've paid $10 for Joe's, dudes. I'm broke. I've been scarred.
Yeah,
So-
so I got a ton of Joes, and they're all just sitting in this box with me.
Well,
I
I,
don't
got a
need
handful
new
of new
ones.
Joes this week as well.
Oh shit!
Anyone who has been keeping an eye on the channel knows all too well that I got Toxo Zombie.
Ooh.
Oh, yeah.
Toxic,
Damn.
toxic, zombie.
And I've been loving this figure, man. He's just, it is so unique for GI Joe. Like they branched far enough in the 90s to include zombies, and the line is so much better for it. If you're a purist, you can ignore this guy ever existed. But if you do like a bit of variation and kind of, I suppose, more themed play with your GI Joe, I mean, you can do it all. Go to space or go to some neo-apocalyptic, scarred, toxic wasteland with these guys creeping through. It's sublime. But that wasn't it. The whole reason I got this guy in the first place was because I could only get him from the States, because I don't think he landed in Australia locally. But the reason I got him at all was because when I got my Sky Striker, it didn't have any missiles. And my man Ryan Sweeney said, "We can sort you out, pal. I've got some spares just lying around." So I was like, well, what could I slip into that box? Toxo Zombie. But Ryan, what a gent. He not only packaged up some Sky Striker parts and my Toxo Zombie, but included some very minty specimens. I got 1983's Torpedo and
Ooh.
a very nice crankcase and lift ticket. But and they are in immaculate condition. Like, I've never touched Joe's this freaking mint before. This is an entirely new experience.
Time to
But-
ruin them so you can play with them.
Well, perhaps it's a good practice for me to now have the playing version and now the kind of the museum
Oh,
quality version, because
okay. See, you have to double
this
up on everything.
Shockwave that he included, I don't think anyone has even breathed on. It is so dead mint. It's incredible. The paint apps are crisp. There's not a single scuff on it. Articulation is all tight. It's like, yeah, it's, as I say,
It looks
museum
fantastic.
quality.
Damn, dude.
not only that, came with his backpack and hello, an unbroken SMG. What?
Yeah, just like mine.
How often? Wise guy. I was about to say, how often do you get to see that? But,
100% on
Rob's
GI
busted
Joburg.
that cherry.
Yeah,
a
when
couple
I
times.
look in my accessories box, I
And
get to
Paul,
see it.
okay, shut up, guys, you wise asses. I've gone my entire life to this point without ever having an unbroken SMG for my Shockwave. I have very inventive workaround, which was I just took a piece of bendable wire and
It
drilled a
works.
little hole, and yeah, well, it also kind of shortened it so that you can actually fit that in the crook of the arm. Because the problem with this is the original is quite oversized in terms of the stock. Hell, the whole thing is pretty oversized. So that is a tricky fit, and that's why so many of them break. But anyways, this one, ta-da, perfect length for that elbow crook. Anyways, gents, that's me for new shit. That and the t-shirt, and the fact that, yes, like Paul alluded to earlier, we appeared on Chris's channel, Chasing 80s Toys. Then we
Damn.
both appeared on a Wild interview, Tim Wild. These are both forthcoming as of
Wild
recording this podcast. And then just earlier today, I joined Sergeant Slaughter, Zazel Phoenix, on Sergeant
Nice.
Slaughter's Slaughterhouse, interviewing the awesome Wayne the Maniac Matei, who is a wrestler in his own right, but most recently has played Sergeant Slaughter in the Young Rock TV series, which one season is already out. They are wrapping up on the second season in the next 2 weeks, and I mean, he's got the tash, he's got the chin. I'm like, this is totally the guy who should be playing Sarge. And he gave us a little rendition too, so lovely to catch that and be a part of it. I mean, I sat there in stunned silence most of the time, just listening to the guys talk wrestling, which I know precious little about, but really enjoyed. Scott has joined the chats. Hello, sir. Anyways, I'm going to shut the hell up and pass the torch to the next gent. Paul, what you got?
Cool. So this week I had a buddy of mine. He's a toy dealer. He actually curates a toy museum called Articulated Collectibles. If you guys are ever in South Africa, you should totally check it out. It's really awesome. It's filled with all kinds of great retro 80s paraphernalia, sometimes a little bit late 70s, some 90s stuff. Very, very cool place. Anyway, he needed some help and whatever's appraising some GI Joe parts. And so I got a whole bunch of accessories at the house to sort through, but he had a few of his own that he wanted me to check out, and he actually just gave them to me, which was pretty rad. So now
He gave you his accessories. He was
not
like,
all
I
of them. It
don't
was just
want
no.
them
There was a very small handful of accessories that he gave me, and I'm going to show you what they are, which is pretty cool. The other stuff's still pending. We'll see if what happens there. But so I've had this Alley Viper from Jim Godfrey for a while now that hasn't had any gear, and now he finally has his own machine gun and his own shield.
Nice.
Focuses in, and his very own backpack.
Settle
That
down,
is-
everyone listening to the audio version. We're talking about the O-ring Alley Viper.
That's
Paul doesn't
correct,
have
so-
a line on the classified. Not yet.
No, I don't have the.
Not
Yeah,
yet.
so it's a vintage Alley Viper.
And it would have come with
vintage
all
Alley
the
Viper's gear.
accessories anyway. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
It's brand new.
Well, unless you got it off the back of a truck in China.
And here's the
Stranger
like.
things have happened.
So like
Oh god.
the fact that I was just like so cool to get Alley Viper gear. I mean now because I have two Alley Vipers, and they both fully geared up now, which is awesome. But there is one Viper in my collection who desperately needed some gear, and in that handful of gear he brought over was nothing less than this bad boy's gun. So now my Viper finally has the Viper gun. Yay! It's very sexy. So I'm very, very happy to finally have one of these. Scorch has got his own rifle now, and this brings me so much joy. It's so cool. If you guys are wondering why I call him Scorch, it's because he's got some burn marks on him.
Okay, because I thought it was linked to a fanfic of yours.
Yeah, well, it is. It's kind of the genesis of that. So yeah,
Very good.
Yeah, so I got this cool figure long ago through Bart. Bart helped me get this guy, and I saw, oh cool, he's got some burn marks on him. That actually makes him even cooler. So yeah. So anyway, so that was my new acquisitions this week. Very quiet, but like you know what? It was just super cool. Like super cool to have this gear. Anyway, and Robbie, you said you haven't got anything new yet, hey?
No, nothing new.
We got to
Unfortunately.
fix that.
I'm sitting on all my old stuff.
Outback
I'm
Stew
still
wants to
getting used to
know.
it.
Let's talk about Tiger Force Outback Classified. And I don't know, anyone want to weigh in on that? I have only one comment, and that's I'm okay for Tiger Force Outbacks. Thank you very much.
Don't you want one with the crotch that isn't broken though?
And awkwardly tall, looking down on all my guys. I don't
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
guys. My
He's
views on
Outback. You play with him at a
Classified hasn't changed.
distance, away from the other figures.
Right.
You know, so
to
he's
do that
all the way
forced
in,
perspective.
you know. Yeah,
Rob,
exactly.
you and I used to do that. Do you remember? We used to integrate different scales, and we just kind of like ignored that there were different scales. We just
Yeah.
kind of. So
Well, it worked with certain things, like aliens or like predators or something. Because I mean,
They weren't that much bigger.
they aren't.
I just
scaled
remember I had a
necessarily,
4-inch guy who was having a relationship with a obviously 5 or 6-inch scale Electra. It's like, whoa, well done, dude.
Maybe he's just into giantesses. I don't know.
Man, awesome.
But I'm very keen on classified Outback actually.
I think it looks
I'm quite
amazing. I
excited.
mean, it's definitely a good update of the O-ring figure. I think they're doing much better at kind of like producing things that I think appeal to people who already own O-ring figures.
Like yourself,
Yeah.
Rob, you've been converted.
Yeah,
and
for sure.
welcoming
Sure, I know.
G7M9W. Hello,
I think
it's
it's
his
really good
first
figure.
time joining in live. Lovely to
yeah.
have you. Any fan mail you want to swing our way for reading on the show? And Tim from Tim's Wild Interview, and of course Saints on Cinema, and Joe Hunter 73. Awesome, nice gang. Glad to be joining you live for a change.
Have you guys seen this comment from Manny17B? I'm just going to put it here on the screen. I ordered, pledged, made the ritual sacrifice for the new Sky Striker.
Good.
I'm debating getting the tail logo tattooed on my chest to just go full dad with it. Dude, why not?
Tail logo
you
is very
serious?
cool though.
Yeah, it's solid, man. That's a cool thing. I don't know if I'd do it on my whole chest, me personally, but I think it's definitely something you can
Yeah,
tattoo
put it
on
on an
yourself.
arm or something.
Yeah.
Doesn't 80s Tees do that logo on a t-shirt? I remember our buddy Dan Shemansky had one. I could have sworn I saw him in a t-shirt.
Yeah, but you
that
can't
had
change your skin.
Right. Yeah. Commitment, bro. Commitment. Just
Yeah,
the
that's
peck, he
like-
says. Boom. Nice.
Just
and then
the
what's
peck.
going to be on the other
just
peck?
like sort of
A rattler.
Like, a bit of it, like a Yakuza tattoo.
And they're
Have them
attacking each
bounce.
other. Yeah.
Sweet.
Who's winning?
Amazing. All right. Are we done for new shit, boys? I see
That
no one
is
in the
all the
chats
new
wants
shit.
to tell us about their new shit. Very good.
Apparently
Bots
people are
snuck
buying
in.
things. Maybe they. Well, you'd think they would buy things. It was just Black
Black
Friday.
Friday.
Oh, and Happy Thanksgiving to all the
Yeah.
Americans. I hope you had a good Thanksgiving, and I hope you're looking forward to Cyber Monday. It's coming.
I hope they have more stuff for sale on Cyber Monday because Black Friday on all the toy sites sucked.
Did it though? I mean, I
Juicy
didn't bother to
dope.
look even. Like,
Dude,
I didn't-
BBTS was like grossly disappointing. It's like, yay, wow. It's like, okay, I'll click on the Black Friday tab out of just morbid curiosity, and I'm like, okay, cool. I'm scrolling down. I'm like, okay, these are fine. And like next, I'm like, oh, there's no next. This was
There's
it.
no
This-
next.
This
There's
was it.
literally, There's the 10 items that have been sitting in their store
Like,
for the last 12 years.
Wow.
No one's bought them, so they're like, please buy these things.
Yeah, please,
All right,
please
we've
buy
got
these
some
things.
trickles of responses, boys. It looks like a bot got. Oh no, wait, hang on. They're scrolling a bit fast. Outback got the His 3. I take it that's that
Ooh.
blue one that's been doing the rounds, the retro collection one. And Cody got the Crimson Range Viper.
Oh,
I am not familiar with that.
Neither am
Yeah,
I.
me
It's an
neither.
O-ring repaint of some
Probably a
kind.
later version, I'm guessing.
Oh, Cody, you put me on such a voyage when you offered to send me
BattleTech.
Heman and Skeletor those many moons ago.
Yep, trickled down the rabbit hole to
I'm
Heberg.
so glad I did. But anyway, carrying on.
Darren says he got BattleTech stuff. Is that a
Nice.
role-playing game?
All the
Or
toy
we're
stuff.
talking
The toy stuff.
BattleTech toys from back. Are they vintage? Are they? Wow. I need more information. All right. I've been watching Hawkeye. Am I the only one?
I think so.
Yeah, we can't get it here.
Okay. Right.
Well, we
Well,
can't get
It's
it
a
here.
lot of effort to watch it right now.
I'll say this much, that my expectation, I think the reason I'm enjoying it is because I've been primed by previous Disney Plus Marvel shows.
You're like, oh, these were really rubbish.
Well, they all had like things that were laudable, but also like things that were detractors. Each one, like serious detractors that reminded you that this is not a polished gem. This is a TV show, and the stakes are lower, and also the kind of, I don't know, just I suppose the vetting process is lower. Like, you dare not screw up a feature film, whereas these can afford to be a bit more experimental. Anyways, the point I want to make is it's nice to see Hawkeye in a setting that isn't like dealing with gods and monsters. You know, Hawkeye, when taken to the street, is incredibly proficient. Like, he walks into a scenario and you know he's going to be okay because he's just, I mean, he's been instrumental in the struggle against Thanos, okay? Like, he can handle a few street toughs. So it's great to pay some respect back to this character who for so long has been like, you know, by relative terms, the weakest of the bunch. But I mean, he's still freaking superhero, man. Okay, so that's my pitch.
Well, that's cool. Well, I look forward to seeing it eventually.
I still don't know how
Have
he's
you-
the weakest of the bunch. Like, it really bugs me.
Why? Who would be weaker?
Black Widow, dude. Wow, I got shocky bracelets. Ooh, and I can shoot really good with my guns. I'm not like the most accurate man in the universe next to, you know, Bullseye.
And
Hawkeye's
the
way
first
cooler
person
than
in the chats to
Black
kind of catch wise is that to the fact that yes, I am growing this out. Cody says, "Steve, you're very werewolf right now." Absolutely, dude. The name of the episode is "My Favorite Things," and if you were to dial your minds back to season 2 of the Sunbow series, you'll remember a little episode with Serpentor, and every time he touched one of his artifacts from one of his previous lives, he grew unique facial hair. So like, I guess we're kind of doing a little bit of that. I mean, we're all at different stages.
Many faces.
Paul's got his 5 o'clock shadow, and Rob, you always look clean shaven, even though that might not be the case.
Yeah, that isn't the case. I think I
that baby
shaved. I think I
face.
shaved last week. Actually, I shaved last week Saturday. So this is a
Nice.
week's growth.
Nice. Well,
It
you got a
goes
very flattering
nowhere.
camera.
It goes nowhere. Well, it's the quality. The quality is really bad, so it always makes me look good.
So last week we wanted to perhaps touch on Cowboy Bebop live action, but we said we'd save that till when Rob showed up, and lo and behold, there you are, baby. What do you want to say about it?
came back. It's. I think it's a mixed bag. I think it's its own thing. It's trying to pay homage to the original series, but it's also trying to be its own thing.
Mhm.
So it's difficult. I think the casting of Jet Black was pretty good. I really enjoy him in that role. Yes, Cho is like in his 50s, while the character, you know, in the anime is like in his 20s. But I think his age has nothing to do with how cool the character is. He feels like Spike Spiegel to me. Faye Valentine, I haven't watched it. I still didn't finish the series. I haven't seen her enough, but she seems okay. I mean, she's not wearing the
I
sexy
like Faye.
outfit, but I mean, she doesn't have
Come
to,
on, man.
you know, to be, you know, the character. I think.
Anime.
So integral
What's
to
it
who
animated
she
up
is.
like some upskirt, some side boob. Oh.
Exactly, you know,
Oh.
but like so far, it's been kind of cool. I mean, the first episode was pretty much ripped, you know, from the actual anime itself, and I think from there they've kind of started doing their own thing. And yeah, I'm waiting to finish it before I give a like a full on opinion about it. But I think overall, so far, it's been kind of cool. It's a bit, I think, it feels cheap at times, but it feels really good at other times. Like sometimes the CGI is really good, but then some of the sets are like, really.
Look, I would
Did you put
say
any
that
effort
it's
into this? So it's
it
a
has
mixed
that kind
bag.
of B movie or like almost Doctor Who episode.
Yes, actually,
quality.
that's true. Now that you say that, because I mean, Doctor Who looks good, I think, against other British shows, but then you pit it against like an American show where obviously they prioritize how good everything looks over basically everything else a lot of the time. So actually, yeah, it does actually look like an average Doctor Who episode.
My issue with Cowboy Bebop comes from the fact that, and it's well put. Like, I'm quoting this from somebody else that wrote the review. It feels like Cowboy Bebop fan fiction. So it's got a lot of what makes Cowboy Bebop cool, but I feel like it doesn't have the real stuff that makes Cowboy Bebop cool. So where I'm coming from with it is I enjoyed it. In fact, when Cowboy Bebop, the live action series, is good, it's great. And when it's bad, I think it's really bad because the good stuff, like the humor, is great. The synergy between the main characters, between characters like Jet and Spike and Faye, I think those are great. I think that the dynamic is fun and interesting. So those are like the high points, and some of the action is not bad and it's fun and whatever. So then you get to like the lows where I think Vicious was wasted on screen. I think he is a shadow of what he should be. He irritates me every time Vicious was given screen time. No disrespect to the actor portraying Vicious. I thought he was just doing what he was directed to do. But I don't think Vicious was well written for that TV series. It actually really put me off a lot of stuff. I was like, okay. And that's obviously coming in with the preconceived anime notion. The other thing that I think is really missing from that show, and this is also a sad thing, having watched the anime recently and currently watching the anime has this great philosophical content to it. Every episode has its own heart, has its own tragedy. I feel like this doesn't. Do you understand? It's like every time you watch something, you're like, okay, it rolls off them. But when you watch the anime, you're kind of like, ooh, ouch. That's like quite hectic. Or when you find something out about Faye, when you find something out about Spike or about Jet, it's like it hits you a bit. I feel like the TV series doesn't do that. And the reason I have issues with that is here's me telling my girlfriend and my co-workers, wow, Cowboy Bebop, it's really cool that they've done a live action version of a really beloved anime because, for some reason people don't like to watch animated things. You guys, like it'd be really awesome to see if they get it, and then they're like, oh, what's it all about? And you're like, oh, it's this and that, but I don't want to spoil it. And then they watch the live action, they're like, no, we don't get it. And I'm like, yeah, I don't blame you. The energy from the anime is not there for me. But main dude is awesome as Spike. So
yeah, John Cho, I don't like his portrayal, and that's not to say he doesn't play it with enormous charisma, because the actor himself, that seems like his brand. He's animated, he's smiley, he's all those things that Spike Spiegel actually isn't. Spike is kind of very reserved. John is playing counter to the way the scenes are set up sometimes, because you would fully expect Spike to be the guy sitting at the bar with like a cigarette burning down to the filter while all hell is breaking loose behind him, and then someone taps him on the shoulder and is about to take a swing, and then he's like just twists his wrist. Like the kind of character that is always in reserve, is never on the front foot. And I think we're just seeing a victim of casting. They cast someone who is extremely gregarious and charismatic in a role that should be like the absence of all personality. So I think there was such strength in the anime portrayal, just always being so reserved. Just this man with his hands in his pockets, meandering through a forest. That's Spike.
I also
Anyways, we've spoken about this.
Sorry, there's like
as much as I'd like.
a few seconds of stuff that I want to get in quickly as well.
The floor is yours.
I also hate that when you watch that show, it always feels like somebody like in the writing team is trying to be clever or trying to one up the anime somehow. Like I get that feeling when I watch it, like they're trying to explain something that they feel didn't make like sense in the anime. And when you watch that show to its conclusion, you'll see why they've done that, because they've changed it to make it work for them. And I hate that. It's like, don't try to be cleverer than like Shinichiro Watanabe and them.
No,
they
but
had
this
a
comes
style.
back to the argument for every live adaptation of a beloved cartoon, anime, or animated film. Why do they do it? Money, baby. There's a buck to be made.
It's all about the
money.
money.
And also,
why do you need to remake Aladdin? Why do you need to remake The Lion King or Beauty and the Beast?
Because you're not good enough to make anything new and original. looks at Disney.
Well,
Anyway,
put bums in seats. These IPs have the potential to, be box office smashers again. So do that with an all-star cast. Anyways, I'd like to just follow up the BattleTech that Darren was referring to was in fact a tabletop gaming. So I called it, man. Bam.
Damn, dude. Smart.
Do you remember the animated show?
oh, dude, I love
Lovely.
BattleTech. I hate Harmony Gold as well because of BattleTech. And not just Robotech, but also because of BattleTech. What they did. Those are amazing. I want to paint those. Because they've got a Mech Warrior game on PlayStation and Steam and everything now. It's like really cheap. It's like half the price of a AAA game. And it's really cool. I haven't had a chance to play it yet because I haven't had time. But I've been watching a lot of trailers. I'm very excited about that. What did they call it when they went into like crap CG mode?
Oh man, I can't remember, but I watched a few episodes not too long ago.
And it's not bad actually. Like
it's so cool, man.
the writing is so good in that show actually. Like
Yeah,
very, very cool. Like the Jade Falcon and all of that. That was
I have great
Is it
memories of that.
yeah, very. I only ever got to play with the toys because my buddy James and Matthew they had them. They were so cool.
Hans has got our
Enhanced
back.
imaging. Thanks, Hans.
With that grid pattern save
No.
on background. I imagine the animators, the sort of traditional animators, clapped and cheered whenever that was used.
You're like, yeah,
because
it's somebody else's problem.
amazing. Give it to the VFX team, CG.
Can we
guys.
just go into enhanced imaging for the whole episode? Can we just do a whole episode? We can all take a break.
And Scott has a very important question. What vintage animated shows would you like to see good live action modern TV or movies for? For me, Voltron and Mazinga Z. Oh, and Transformers and GI Joe. Lol, I said good.
Good movies.
Yeesh.
Ah, shit,
I think
dude.
a
Let's start with
Voltron would
Gundam.
be
Stephen.
amazing.
I'm gonna guess you would say Gundam, Paul.
Gundam,
Hell yeah, I
definitely.
think
Although
Paul
that's
definitely
happening,
wants to
Netflix is doing a live action Gundam series, and it's based on 1 Year War, and it's based on an episode
Okay.
that wasn't aired in Japan called Kukurodon's Island. So let's see.
It's by Netflix though, so
By Net,
Exactly.
yeah, it's not
Is
by
it
like
gonna be good?
Sunrise.
Is it going to be bad? You don't know.
Netflix
Yeah.
is also doing One Piece, and I think I mentioned last week it's being shot
It's been
in
filmed
Cape
in
Town.
Cape Town, yeah.
I
Oh,
could
sorry,
be in
Steve,
an
you could have been in there. You
anime.
could have
Could
been
be in an anime.
Zorro.
That's insane.
Hey,
I'm
don't you
curious
think
to
Steven
just
could
ask
have
my
been Zorro?
agent. I want to know what parts are going to be
Zorro.
podcast locally. Probably all the the crumbs from the table. Everything.
It would be like all
Of-
the
of
random
impo-
characters, yeah.
Exactly.
There's some cool characters
man.
in. Dude, like One Piece is great. I just don't think it should be live action. But hey, whatever. We're lucky we can see it, and if we don't like it, we don't have to watch it. Nobody's going watch it. Talking about live action stuff, I would also love to see a live action Mazinga. Because Mazinga, or Mazinga, however you want to pronounce it, it's both correct. A lot of the awesomeness in that series is not just robot battles. In fact, Pacific Rim proved that to us. That's why Pacific Rim. That's also another thing that just gets my back up as well. It's like Pacific Rim is a love letter to like things like Mazinga Z and Evangelion and whatever's. And Evangelion's also a love letter to Mazinga Z and stuff like that as well. If you guys don't know that, fun fact. And people are like, oh my god,
Super
Pacific Rim's
robots.
amazing. How can you watch that cartoon shit? And they're like,
This is, That's what inspired it.
Guys,
Yeah.
I have to throw this suggestion up immediately. Outback says Mask.
Yeah, I was
Yes.
going to say as well, Mask would be a brilliant thing to do. I mean, we have the
but
Set
not
it
by
in the
Paramount
80s.
or Diego
Not by the 80s.
Ventura,
Yeah.
whatever's.
Give,
Yeah.
give it
Like,
to
do you remember
someone
when they
else.
did Knight
That's right.
Rider 2000? And
Yes.
like all the vehicles were shit because they were all vehicles of the now. Nah, dude, you got to use the vehicles of the day. So like a big old, was it Mack truck and the IROC.
The
What was
closest
that?
we've ever gotten to that was that series called something Dodge 2000 or Viper 2000 or whatever it was with the Dodge Viper that went silver.
Yeah,
Like
that
a-
was
Oh,
Viper.
Viper.
Viper. That was actually, I thought it was a fun show. That was like Mask for
Viper
grown-ups.
was awesome.
I love that
Freaking
show.
amazing.
I don't know. I think if you could actually perfect weapon for an imperfect future. Amazing.
Dude, I'd love Gatchaman if they ever did it properly. Battle of the Planets.
Oh,
that would be
oof,
cool.
Princess in that tight pink number.
Yeah, I would go for that. Voltron would be fun to see. It would be very
Or we
cool
go
to
for
see.
that.
Macross, if they did Macross live action, I'd love to see that too.
I think Bionic 6 would be really good.
I think
you can do
Bionic
a
6
really
would
cool
work
Bionic
really
6.
well.
And if I think are they trying to do it, but maybe a live action He-Man? I don't know. I would probably watch that. I mean, Dolph Lundgren is really cool as He-Man, but like set it in Eternia, you know?
And just give it that dark gothic feel. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that'd be absolutely amazing to actually do that properly.
It's coming up with the good suggestions out back says
She-Ra.
She-Ra.
Yeah. What else would be cool? Actually, just in the comments, there's been a few mentions quickly of Wheel of Time. No, I have not checked out Wheel of Time yet. I will.
Yeah,
It's
I've
on,
never
I
read the
believe
books.
it's on Amazon.
So I'm not. I have no. Well, I'll watch it. But
I just
have no
didn't want.
connection to
I
it.
didn't want people in the comments to feel like we had ignored that's going down.
I mean,
so.
another series based on a series of books would be Isaac Asimov's Foundation.
Yes,
Apparently that's on Apple TV, and apparently it's really fantastic.
it's beautiful.
I read all the books. The books were absolutely incredible, so I'm very excited to kind of check that out at some point.
It's not an 80s property, but there's been rumors that they're doing it as Neuromancer and Snow Crash.
That's a
as
William
live action.
Gibson book.
Yeah, William Gibson and Neil Stevenson, respectively.
Oh,
I'd love to
guys,
see that
transforming F-14s. Wouldn't you like to see that in the real?
Dude,
Photo Viper says
makes me
Macross
wet.
would be cool, but he'd be afraid they'd ruin it. Well, that's the gamble with all this stuff. Like, will you like it if it pisses on your childhood? No, you won't.
You know what
So
was
they have
really
to do
good
it
though?
right. How do
And
you please us? Our aspirations, well, our expectations are set sky high because these things have lived on in our nostalgia. Ay, ay, ay. Same thing
Also,
with any
Cadillacs and
attempt-
dinosaurs. Hell yes.
Cool.
Sorry, just hell yes.
Let's go
Cadillacs
completely
and
crazy. Just
dinosaurs.
do Dino Riders. I mean, what
Oh.
the fuck's happening with Dino Riders?
Oh no, that's dinosaurs. But Dino Riders would be freaking amazing. They did try to do something Dino Rider-esque. Like, it was bad. It's like we get teleported to like a dinosaur planet, and then we're making stuff, and then
That sounds awful.
it had
bother.
promise.
Wait,
it had
wasn't
promise,
that
but
wasn't that called like Earth One or something? No.
something like that. I
Something
can't
like that,
remember.
Steven Spielberg produced it, maybe.
Yeah, it was.
I don't think it was
Elita,
very good.
Battle Angel.
No, no.
Battle
that
Angel was
wasn't it.
pulled off
That's
well
not-
in live action,
that's
in
not-
my opinion.
Oh, you're saying it's something to do. I thought you were like, that's the one with the dinosaurs. No, it's
I don't
not.
know
No,
what I'm
no,
talking
no.
about anymore. But guys, should we segue into our topic, or have we
Yeah,
not
sure.
exhausted this one?
I
for
think
sure?
we're very exhausted now. I'm glad we're not talking about He-Man Revelations Part 2. That was,
Yeah, because we could go on
That was so
forever.
funny.
We would
yeah, we could
hate
literally
for-
talk forever about that.
I
like-
haven't finished watching it.
Okay, good. So no
Should I?
spoilers.
Okay,
I think you should. It's 5 episodes,
it's so
and I
quick.
think you should totally do.
Very good.
I would go as far as to say this. I didn't hate the first one. You heard it here on this channel.
Ooh,
I
hot
just
takes.
wasn't. I didn't hate the first one, and when you watch the second part of that series, it makes the first one relevant. So, yeah. And
I
thought
don't
it
know
was
what
a good
happened
show.
to the show, but the animation was all over the place. It's like
Sometimes smooth,
it's like they had
sometimes-
to, but it wasn't even just the same company. I felt like they often did like weird anime things. So it's like they actually, for the second half, they pulled in a ton of companies to finish the animation. And I feel, to me at least, that feels like they were going in a certain direction with the show, and then part
And then
one
they had
came
to
out,
redraw
and
stuff.
then there was a ton of reactions to it, whether positive or negative, and they were like, oh, okay, we have to redo the entire second half of the show. And there was an episode early on in part 2. Again, I mean, just my last thing about this, but where it felt like the entire episode was structured backwards. There were scenes where like the motivation of what the character was doing only came later in the episode. And it has to do with the episode. You know which one I'm talking about, the one with Evil Lynn, and like they're referring to things that haven't happened yet. And she's doing stuff that she hasn't been motivated to do yet earlier in the episode. And then the stuff happens essentially backwards through the progression of the episode. I was like, did you guys not edit this correctly? It it's completely in the incorrect order. Like you've actually messed this up. But anyway, I think we can talk about this some other time. But I think
It was just nice to be able to watch it and go, oh, great, we have two fairly decent, dare I say, good He-Man shows out at the moment, which is cool. And you don't have to like both. You know, that's just cool that we live in a time where that's a thing.
You can pick and choose. But yeah, I think what Scott's saying is in agreement with me. You can tell the second part had major course corrections made. I think that was the reason that the animation was different. Yeah, that's what I think as well. Because there's hugely different animations. Like the not even, I wouldn't even say the majority of it matches the first season, because there's a lot of it that's just so out, to me at least, it seems out of place. Like there were no animation mistakes this time that like I picked up in the first part, but there were definitely in the entire sequences where like, okay, that doesn't look anything like the animation you've been using for the rest of the episode, and there's no motivation for it to look different, because sometimes an animation can look different for reasons, like this is the power-up sequence, of course it looks different, or like this is the speed, there's reasons for it why you might choose a different style of animation, but there's no reason for it in this, because the entire first season has a certain look animation wise, and the second part does not. So I think for sure they're like, oh shit, what are we doing? Oopsie doopsie.
We got a great and yes. Hello, Burgess Meredith, back from the grave, I see. He asked the most important and very timeless question. Yo, why do you have Cobra Commander in a dress? Of course, he's shouting it, but it's very late at night, so I'm not going to speak the caps. Well,
I didn't put him in a dress. None of us put him in a dress. This is actually covert footage. It was sent to me by Sneak Peek, and that's why I made the thumbnail with it.
Stepping on freedom and venom and snake bites, bright shiny hiss tanks and endless dark nights, fatal fluffies and burger joint tricks. These are some of the ways I get my kicks. Snake armored soldiers and villainous henchmen, master vices and cold slithers top 10, making slaves fight with 2 evil joysticks. These are some of the ways I get my kicks. Raiding the tomb of world leaders long dead. Why is that idea still stuck in my head? Replacing generals to start big conflicts. These are some of the ways I get my kicks. When GI Joe shoots, when Zartan sings, when I'm feeling glad, I simply remember my favorite things, and then I don't feel so bad. The Baroness all dressed up. Fuck. I cocked it up already. Anyways, there's another verse to this. This is contributed by Andrew Grant over on YouTube. Seems we have more than one lyricist in the Berg Force. And that is the reason Cobra Commander is looking like Julie Andrews.
From the sound of music.
Maybe Julie Andrews is Cobra Commander.
The three of us are going to recount stories of our favorite individual Joe things. These are things that, after some careful consideration, just put us in the best of moods when we think about them, reminisce about them. They can be a toy, they can be a piece of paraphernalia, they can be an idea. But this episode is entitled Our Favorite Things or My Favorite Things. And we ask you in the comments down below after the fact, like, tell us what your favorite Joe things are. As I say, they don't necessarily have to be a toy. They can be a toy. But what gets you going when it comes to G.I. Joe? Rob's thinking hard.
I'm just trying to remember things. It's such a long time ago now.
Well, Paul, unless you want to kick the ball off, I can get it rolling. Mark in the comments says Zartan. Yeah, great one, that.
And
just
hello,
the concept
Mark.
of him. Hello, Mark.
Oh, hi, Mark.
Hi, Mark.
Also, Darren's in full lyricist mode again with some more Sound of Music.
Manny 17B reckons you missed your calling.
How do you catch a snake on pin him down? I wasn't in the Sound of Music. Can you tell?
Shocking.
All right.
You were actually doing Stephen Sondheim music.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
And rest in peace, Stephen Sondheim.
Indeed.
He passed away this week. Assassin. I still remember watching Assassins with you and previous girlfriend at the New Space Theatre.
That's also dead.
That's
Unfortunately,
also dead. The relationship is dead.
the previous girlfriend is still alive, I think.
The memories.
The
memories
she's
are the
not my
nicest.
friend on Facebook anymore, and we don't follow each other's like Instagram, so she might be dead. I don't know. I don't wish ill on her.
No, of course not. But Assassins. I mean, that was pretty
Assassins, a dead playwright in a dead theater. Oh, all very sad. Chris
But
from
anyway,
Chasing Eddie's Toys says that
Shipwreck
Shipwreck
and
and Polly
That's
really
true.
are one of his favorite things. Yeah, absolutely. Such terrific characterization, fun toys, and a good duo. All right, guys, I think I'm going to get us started. Mine kind of unfold in a chronology, so try and keep up or keep track if you can. So
notes.
my first GI Joe figure must have been one of the three, either Lifeline, Monkey Wrench, or Iceberg. But my first GI Joe vehicle was the Cobra. I was about to say Cobra Ferrets, but actually no, it was the Tiger Paw, the Tiger Force version of the Ferrets. Because I was a little late to the party, as you might have gathered by now, and so the Tiger Paw was my first blushings with like building a GI Joe vehicle, this kind of model kit approach. But the thing I want to talk about wasn't the vehicle. The thing I want to talk about was the included paraphernalia, the catalog.
So you didn't care, but you like throw the toy away.
Oh, that old thing.
The toy is the toy, but the catalog was so much more than the toy. The catalog was the promise of every other toy that you could possibly get in that series.
Or in my case, the promise of every toy you wouldn't get. Sorry.
To my 5-year-old brain, I thought that everything on this piece of paper was out there and I could hunt for it. And so this was the 1990 Euro catalog. This is when
Such a cool catalog.
In the UK, you would have seen tell of GI Joe and Action Force joining forces to become GI Joe the Action Force. Now that's the version I had, not the version pictured here that I pulled off yojo.com. Thank you very much, yojo.com. Instead of the text that dealt with GI Joe and Action Force becoming one, they've got the American sort of catalog image art of the 1988 series. The one with the bug dipping into the swamp, the stiletto and the X-19 going head to head, and the Rolling Thunder in the foreground, amongst other things. But the text wasn't important. What was of crucial importance is that along with my nippy little tiger paw, what was advertised were Tiger Fly with, I must add, the unproduced Wild Bill in the cockpit, the unproduced Recondo riding the Tiger Paw.
The much cooler looking Recondo, because technically we did get Recondo with Tiger Force.
Yes, I'm saying, you're absolutely right. The Recondo that has the sort of the tiger stripe over a tan.
I love
uniform.
that.
Darker
Why
tan.
weren't these prototypes that someone recently discovered in the warehouse?
Ah, boo. If only. I think these were only mocked up for that photo shoot.
No.
I don't know if they... Pardon me.
Yes.
Gesundheit.
The Tiger Cat, which just... The fact that the image is photographed from a low angle and 3/4 isometric from the front told you very little about what was happening in the back section. So you were kind of married to these images and your imagination filled in the blanks. The Tiger Cat, the fact that it said in the blurb that it could transport 10 figures to tough situations. I'm trying to do this from memory because unfortunately the text,
they all have to hang on.
the text that we're greeted with here are in tri languages, but none of them English. Yeah, I thought that this was an APC in addition to being able to fling missiles through the air.
No, they just hang out on the outside.
Little did I know, yeah. But I mean, as I say, the Tiger Cat seemed like the stuff of legends. In fact, all of the Tiger Force vehicles did, because they all were callbacks to a bygone era and therefore had a different aesthetic to the other stuff in the catalog.
And tigers are cool, you know? Like, we probably didn't even know what the hell these vehicles were before they came out as Tiger Force vehicles.
That image,
Yeah,
those images there are why I love Tiger Force. I fell in love with Tiger Force there. That's
Well, rounding out the awesome foursome was the Tiger Shark, which also was super cool, and I actually did manage to find growing up. And
Heck
as I
yeah.
say, it rocketed to the front of the class in terms of favoritism because it just was a different feel to the other stuff that I had at the time. It was more detailed. It kind of was like more compact, more realistic. Really connected with that. Oh, incidentally, in the Tiger Shark cockpit, I learned much later, is once again another custom driver. That was Tiger Force Torpedo. Looks like he's done up in kind of yellow scheme, but that was never produced, not for retail. And then moving over to the figures of note, you can see mixed in with the regular US releases of Duke, Roadblock, Lifeline, and Tripwire, we have the start of the Euro Tiger Force guys, that being Psych Out and Outback. Oh, the love affair started there. And I don't know if you realize, but Outback's lamp is on the wrong side, which tells me that this image has been flipped. Haha. Interesting.
Bastard.
Yeah.
I suppose, yeah, because
Everyone's a
Roadblock's gun
lefty.
is in his left hand, yeah.
Well, so is Lifeline's gun in his left hand.
His gun.
Oh.
I'll save
Hey,
you.
Lifeline's only a pacifist in the cartoon, mostly.
Yeah.
Getting onto the rest of the catalog, this might come as a surprise to a number of our listeners and viewers. We have the Imp squaring off against the Swamp Masher. We have the Desert Fox, which looks completely foreshortened in the image. So I had no idea how long that thing was and how it has a, sort of a back bed that is quite extensive. I was very happily surprised when I saw how lengthy the actual toy was and how you could jam it with the additional figures in the back. Also notice the different version of Treadmark or Skidmark we have in the back there. It's got a different helmet. The figure assortment. Oh, fantastic. Such winners. This is the series that GI Joe really landed for me. This is where I really started buying up absolutely everything I could find. And also interesting to see my choices of figures at the time. Like my early purchases were all purchased for me for birthdays and Christmas. But the first figure that I actually recall getting myself was Hydro Viper.
Hydro Viper, yeah.
Yeah. Something freaky about that guy that really spoke to me. Spoke to me a lot more than the guys he was competing with. Like, I remember distinctly snubbing a Falcon in favor of Hydra. Hey?
Like, I don't want to know.
Interesting.
Yeah, but that makes sense, because, like, yeah. Like, as a kid,
Oh, this is
sometimes you're looking for army or you're looking for, like, sci-fi, you know?
This is also the era where if an O-ring broke, I stupidly threw out the figure. So Voltar met his end that way, and so did the Iron Grenadier. What?
And that's why I never saw
an
Voltar.
idiot.
Like,
Yeah,
he had the
but you saw
vehicle, but
his...
he didn't.
No, I had his bird.
His bird, but he didn't have him himself.
The RPV and the Skystorm were clogging shelves in our local Dion's, but I only bought them later as an adult. Of interest is the fact that this catalog advertises the Demon and the Despoiler, but no AGP. So I
Oh, look,
didn't
it
know
has
the
gold
AGP.
trimming.
I didn't know the AGP existed until I was an adult.
Maybe they just couldn't fit it in, I guess. It's like, There's
And
no
now we
space
get
for
to
it.
the real crowd pleasers. Oh, yes. The Warthog, which I did have. The Phantom X19, which I did not. And the big ticket item of that year. in
I
that catalog,
love this catalog shot, dude. I love it so much. It
the
is so
rolling
ominous.
thunder in this beautiful environment set against this darkening sky with these mesas in the background. Also a prototype because no hubcaps. Well, no, wait, it does have hubcaps. But okay, it's got this kind of foldable ramp section in the front, which isn't true to the mass retail. But it is loaded with the guys of that series and Storm Shadow
Like,
awkwardly
Storm Shadow
running
hanging out in the
behind.
background.
But
Guys,
this
come on.
toy fired my imagination like no other. I remember fawning over this picture, and as I was mentioning up front, like the toy was great, the tiger paw was great and all. I eventually traded it in for a mask condor that one kid brought to school one day, but the catalog lived on on every long car ride, every time I was just sitting in my room. I mean, I was the kind of kid who loved his paperwork so much, I cut out the card backs and used the little character portraits as mini action figures. I didn't have stands or anything. I would just kind of use them. It's kind of like playing pieces, but I would actually like, pretend they were fighting, like move these guys along the desk like troops. So yeah, the paperwork was always important. Oh, and something we won't ever mention, and need to talk about is the bloody mean dog over there. Yeah, whatever.
Why?
That's
Such a
there
great
too.
vehicle. Such a cool toy.
And that's me, boys. That's my first favorite thing. That first catalog I saw, and just the adventures my mind went on after fawning over that. Who's next?
It's wild.
Ooh, I'll
So
go
good.
next.
Sure.
So one of my favorite things the catalog is one of my favorite things, by the way. I think we have a very similar experience growing up with
Which
that.
one? Do you have a
Both.
particular
That
name?
one that you're looking
Okay.
at now, and the big fold-out blue one that we
Both
had. That I
sides,
think, yeah, because I just remember that awesome image of the Tiger Force blowing me away, and then David also had like this cool catalog. It was like Terror in the Tundra is one, and that wasn't from a local figure. Well, it wasn't at the time. I remember seeing it I think he came back from Hong Kong and he had a vehicle with that in it. And he had some Arctic thing and it's got a little booklet with the Steel Brigade offer. Anyway, but I also used to have a lot of that fun with the catalogs. Imagining what those toys would be like and what it would be like finding them, which would, go on to provide much trauma going into my adult life. Anyway, and which is probably why I love my collection so much. But anyway, my first favorite thing in GI Joe is the Sunbow cartoon. Why?
The whole thing.
The whole thing. I absolutely love that it exists. It's something like when I was a kid, when I was much younger, and I got to watch the stuff on the videotapes and whatever's. It was cool, and it was always like, wow, this is really good. We're finally watching some GI Joe stuff, because everything we had been allowed to watch or been able to watch has been like Mask and Rambo and whatever else was on TV at the time. So it was pretty standard fare. You're like, oh, it's a cartoon. As an adult, I realize how much I really love Sunbow's GI Joe. Why? Because it takes you to this weird sort of world. This like
Saturday
idea
morning
of Earth.
cartoons, eating your
Yeah.
cereal.
Yeah, exactly. It takes you there. It reminds you of like getting up early in the morning, even at your friend's house to watch like KTV and stuff in the morning, which is like a cartoon channel here in South Africa. on
Kids
Mnet.
television.
It also
If you're wondering what the
KTV
case
for
did.
you and me.
And it also like it just took you to this world, world where Cobra was like literally the only bad thing, and there were tons of like weird.
They
There's
owned
lots of
entire
weird robotics.
cities.
Exactly, and there's robotics, and there's lasers, and there's futuristic equipment, and then at the same time there's like buried pyramids and ruins with actual ghosts and monsters and shit. That's the thing that makes cartoons so awesome for me. And having recently started watching some of the episodes again, I'm just reminded of how this is probably one of my favorite things. Like if I was Serpentor, and I was brought back to, made, as Serpentor or something, I would probably seek out my box set of the Sunbow show to give me my powers and to help restore my beard.
What kind of bearding pattern would that give you?
It would probably give me like no beard actually, because I'd be a child again.
You'd be a
I'd have,
child, right? Ooh,
no beard.
freaky. I wonder what
But,
ceiling would look like
I don't think
that
you
mean-
mind.
that. The curtains match the drapes, smooth
Yeah.
everywhere.
No, wait. Hold on. This is the leading question.
Let's put the kibosh on this question all
Yeah.
together. Loving the responses in the chats, guys. Yeah, catalogs did play an important role, and the Sunbow cartoon, huge support for that as well. Fantastic.
I mean, guys, I mean, sorry, I could go on. I mean, it's the thing that navigated my first modern GI Joe purchases. My first GI Joe purchases when I started buying Joes again in my 20s was navigated by the cartoon. In fact, I actually think I managed to start off my collection by having that box set. It's that locker, it's that locker box, that foot locker box that came with the flash drive and all that good stuff. And I've just got such great memories with that because I saw it in the catalog and I was like, that's mine. And then it came in and then
Do
wow, it's just
any toy
beautiful.
lines do that anymore? A
Catalogs
full,
or what?
like, poster size catalog or leaflet with effectively Dio stories set up to push the toys. I can't think of a single one.
I don't think so. I mean, it's all it's pictures you release on Twitter. It's people who follow your social media. It just happens
all
to be
online.
it's YouTube channels. Yeah, they release the
They've
trailer
cut out
for the
the
thing on
cost
there.
of including the leaflet by just showing you tasty photographs online. But nothing fired the imagination like having the cross sell, having the catalog in the box. You pull it out and you would agonize. You'd pore over this thing. You'd pester your parents with it. Yeah, I guess we'll never get that back. But Rob, you're up to bat, my friend.
And before Rob, sorry, there's just a comment here. Rodrigo Rivera Luna, and I'm sorry if I butchered your name, dude.
You have
but his favorite was Scoop. He really loved that figure. Remember him?
Scoop,
hook, line, and sinker, baby.
Was he the one? He's one of the Cobras, wasn't he? I think.
Actually,
maybe.
yes.
Actually, yeah.
Once.
According to
okay, cool. No, I don't remember Scoop so much. Nah. I don't know who that is. Well, I think something. Toxo 92. That's a good choice.
Shoutouts, bro. Thanks very much for the kind words.
But to put Rodrigo at some ease, Rob is being very sarcastic. And
what?
So are all of
no
you.
way.
Because Rob is like probably the biggest Scoop fan in the world. The only person who I think rivals Scoop's Rob's love for Scoop is somebody on Instagram called Scoop Daily. Or Daily Scoop or something, who also posts a whole bunch of images.
He's able to take Scoop around the world and just take pictures of
well,
Scoop
not anymore, but anyway.
Well, after points, he was able to do that.
But yeah.
Get back to it.
But thank you for mentioning Scoop.
Get everywhere. Yeah, Scoop is amazing.
Scoop
but
is
I think
great.
I think something fundamental that I think everyone can agree with that is definitely a favorite. I mean, I think a lot of people are obviously getting to be able to do that again now with the release of the classified figure range. But I think it's something that we still won't really be able to do, at least in South Africa now, is actually being able to go to a store and buy figures. That is one of my favorite things ever, is being able to enter a store, actually see something that I want, and pick it up off the shelf and buy it. And I think there were lots of different figure series at the time that, I was interested in, from Heman to Thundercats, but I think being able to see a GI Joe on the shelf and being able to like pick and choose, like, oh, I want this one. I don't so much want this one, like he doesn't have a camera, but this guy has a camera. So, he's obviously so much better because he comes with the camera. So I think buying figures, I still have good memories of being able to go in almost any store. There was a series of stores called Dion's. They become something else now. They're more of like electronics retail chain, but I suppose Dion's became a company called Game here. They kind of rebranded, but you're just able to go there and just find just toys on shelves, racks and racks and racks. The entire like boys aisle was just filled with GI Joe, and the options were basically endless. I don't think I bought every single figure that came out. I bought the ones that that kind of specifically interested me. But it's that joy of being able to go in a shop and like you see the price and you negotiate with your parents, with your mother, to try and like, can I get this one? Can I get this one? Can I get the third one? And then when it doesn't work,
no, too violent. You can have the one with the camera.
You can have the one with the camera, and when it doesn't work out, you throw a tantrum, and then all of the little everyone laughs at you, and you don't mind because you've got those bloody toys.
Because your eyes on the prize, dude. Yeah.
You gotta stay focused. Everything you can, everything you could do to get that toy, you got to do it. And I've often even had dreams of actually being back in Dion's or in, I suppose, CNA, and actually finding toys. And it always feels like a nightmare when I wake up, because it's like, that's the coolest thing ever, because you can't have that anymore. It's not a thing you can have. And yeah, as I said, I think obviously people who buy classified now can find those figures in some stores in the States, or I suppose Canada, maybe Europe to a certain degree. but it's not something that we have had since our childhood here in South Africa. So that is definitely one of my favorite things that I miss the most about GI Joe is being able to buy toys in the shop. There's literally nothing. I mean, I sometimes, I mean, obviously Paul, he's fortunate enough to have Hemans. He can pick up Heman, he can get, but every time I go in a shop, there's nothing. There's like literally nothing that I go, this is really cool, because it's all like bargain basement copies of other things. And as always, I mean, I remember from 5 or 6, 7 years ago when they were saying, oh, the big toy choice for this Christmas is Spider-Man. Why is it Spider-Man? Because it's the only toy you bring in. You bring in a ton of Spider-Man toys. Of course, it's the favorite for Christmas because parents have no choice but to buy it.
Dude, it's frightening that there's no like Motu in the Christmas catalog from either Toys R Us or
weird,
Toys R Us.
Because there's a wide selection of toys from that line that people could be getting right now. But anyway, that is definitely one of my favorite things that I miss the most of being a child and being a GI Joe fan, is being able to pick those figures up.
Unfortunately, even if the retro O-ring collection kicks off from Hasbro Pulse and then becomes a main line, we will be robbed that experience. It'll still be so niche that you
and
can't
the thing
get
is that the
global...
variety of figures won't be the same as what you had back in the 90s and the 80s. There was like 7, 8, 9, 10 different figures you could choose from, and then it's a knock-on effect. Like, I mean, obviously they would keep them there until not just until they sold out. I mean, they'd just stay there until people bought them and they bring in the new ones. So you had 20 different figures you could choose from.
And
hopefully
some of them became dead stock, like all those Voltars.
The Voltars and the Star Brigade, I suppose, to a certain degree. I mean, you could buy tons of those at that factory toy shop that we went to.
Well, I mean,
I'd like to, if I may, highlight a comment from Moonlight47. Probably a cliche, but my favorite can be narrowed into 2 words: Snake Eyes. Close second would be a tie between the 25th Joes and the Street Fighter movie re-release vehicles. Now, I am not familiar with the movie re-release vehicles. I assume that doesn't include...
I hope it doesn't include one of those Ninja
Striker.
Chop Chops. What was that vehicle that I hated? The Ninja Chop Chop vehicle?
Ninja Chop Chop.
It's a Ninja Chop Chop vehicle.
Oh no, those are the Battle Axe and whatever.
Yes.
Chop
Chop.
Yeah.
Chop Chop. Hopefully they don't re-release that.
I assume it's not that. The movie re-release vehicles, if that's your happy place, that's incredible, man. That's very... Yeah,
that is pretty cool there.
As a Joe fan, lifelong Joe fan, that's an area that I'm totally...
And Snake Eyes is definitely, I think it's a valid choice. I mean, it's definitely the thing that's taken off the most for G.I. Joe. It's the thing that more people outside of G.I. Joe recognize is Snake Eyes. Snake Eyes' conflict between him and Storm Shadow. So
you can't not have a Snake Eyes, basically. Even
exactly.
if you think he's overexposed.
Exactly. You kind of have to have.
Mine's out of reach. Damn it.
No, how could you? Paul even has one in his hand.
I don't have one of those. But I have
one of these.
I don't have one of those.
The only member of the GI Joe Club or GI Joburg Club to not be in the Swivel Arm 83 Snake Eyes.
I can't even believe it.
I'll just hopefully I can get myself one of those retro O-ring.
You should.
Snake Eyes.
No, it has to be one of these. This is an original.
All right,
it's a reproduction.
So
it's
my
like the
bank
Netflix
account.
remake of the original. Come on.
Would you have a reproduction bank account, Paul? Where were you going with that?
No, it's an original. You know.
An original remake.
It's also hard to get.
Originally, it had some positive balance, but now it's going down and down.
Now it's Snake Eyes.
It's leeg, my bro.
That's definitely a
pink
good
is
choice.
leeg. Okay, boys. Next one up for the Jubmeister.
Is you?
I had
I'll
the
be right
catalog, but I needed more toys. And the most substantial vehicle that I got first, the first substantial vehicle that I ever got, it was Christmas of 1992. And it was this beauty. The Cobra Bug. Whoa, crap. What happened? The screen.
back. That's a real
There
South
we go.
African hero blog post.
Yes, this is
Get that,
taken
Steve.
from my
Where did you find
original,
that?
my old school blog from March of 2011.
Oh,
I did a write-up on the bug. I said,
Oh,
okay,
that was a long
time to
time
take a
ago.
look. Time to take a look at a piece that some may regard as obscure, but certainly less than the Sea Ray I looked at a little time ago. And it's one of my buddy's faves. So, Paul, this one's for you.
Yay!
Oh.
A dedication back in 2011. We hadn't even begun podcasting by then. That came in October, as I recall. Anyways, I got the Cobra Bug for Christmas, guys. What an absolute windfall that was, because this toy was so gargantuan to me at the time. Like, it was more than just a submersible amphibious vehicle. This was like a command node for Cobra, and it's significant for being the first time where Cobra actually became the protagonists for me. The Bug signaled that toy that I just wanted to play with so badly that, like, Cobra were now the heroes and GI Joe were the enemy. I would prioritize this vehicle over everything else. I'd load it with guys. Because of the obvious shortcomings in terms of its armor, it would have shields, of course.
Of course.
So it could just like sit in the middle of the battlefield and
Why not?
take withering fire and not be damaged at all and just return fire. The fact that you had so many accessible internal spaces always, I mean, Paul, you refer to this all the time. Like, that is one of the essentials when it comes to a vehicle. If you can actually place figures inside it and have little nooks and crannies and accessible areas that aren't just exposed, you're not just sitting a guy in a seat and he's flapping in the breeze. The Bug was perfect in that regard because it's built to be a submersible. And I had love for the neon colors because, commercial subs all sported those colors, and why wouldn't Cobra use that too? I guess they weren't trying to sneak up on anyone.
Dude, your thought process was much cooler than mine there. I was just like, it looks cool.
It looks amazing.
That was it. I was like, it looks cool.
Now,
Yeah.
the play pattern with the Bug, after I graduated from these very obvious, like, populate with guys, sit in the middle of a battlefield and just dominate, actually took on a kind of a Hunt for Red October sneaking style of gameplay, which, like, when I think about it now, it's totally my happy place. Rob, maybe you joined me on one of these missions because in addition to the Bug, we had the complementary vehicle of the Hammerhead. So this allowed many kids to play simultaneously, like, Cobra submersible action. So we used the detachable subs, we used, the Bug's pod, the 5 detachable craft from the Hammerhead, and of course the vehicles themselves. So an entire army of kids could be accommodated by one of these games. And the format of the game, I think, was a port that Cobra had to lay waste to. But in order to get there, they'd have to navigate some incredible underwater cavern or reef structure. Like, if you can conjure up all of the best submarine films that all have that incredibly tense, like, everyone's hanging on to something while they barely scrape through a small rocky aperture, not really being able to see outside the craft. I mean, sure, this has enormous bubbles, but you get my meaning. Like, you're plunged into these murky depths where the sunlight doesn't reach because you're in an overhang environment, and you've got these two cumbersome craft. Well, cumbersome on land maybe, but certainly very maneuverable in the water. And that's where the Bug really shines, man. Like, just being completely submerged. I remember even playing this after dark, and we'd switch the TV, the sort of old school tube television, CRT TV, to like a blue standby screen. Like, you could select blue or black. So we selected blue, and it cast this incredible blue light on the lounge. And we would just very painstakingly, in slow motion, navigate these trenches and make this run to ultimately pop up in the middle of this port and just spew carnage. So, guys, that is one of my favorite things for sure. My favorite position of all, which I don't have a picture of, unfortunately, so you're just going to have to bear with me if you're not familiar with the toy. But the rear gunning section has so much beautifully sculpted technical greebly to it. Switches and a speaker box and various dials and things. And it's just so nice. So my favorite guy would always be on top there if he wanted to take shots with his main machine gun he could, but mainly he was just the commander, and best times. Best times. Yeah. And Paul, I suppose you have something to say about the bug as well, I'm sure. Go for it, brother.
It's crazy because like your list preceded ours, and we didn't want to have any overlap. But yeah, the bug reminds me of my birthday from 1992, oddly enough. And so that happened obviously before you got your bug for Christmas. And it's the biggest vehicle I owned as a kid. It would continue to be like probably the biggest toy I owned as a kid. And it wasn't like the biggest toy, but I mean, it was. And it's just really special for me as well. It's just like, I think that's kind of what made me know that I was a GI Joe fan. If I look back at my life as a kid, like, you can be like, I bought Biker Mice from Mars, and I bought Toxic Crusaders, and I bought this and that and whatever. But you begged and pleaded with with your parents to get the Cobra Bug for your birthday. You're like, and it was probably my favorite thing when I was a kid. It was my favorite thing as a kid. I barreled that thing everywhere. Shame. Played with it into non-existence. Loved it, dude.
On the topic of Sector Viper's helmet, because they are scarce. Those glass domes, or not glass, transparent plastic domes. I believe repros are an option now, and they're pretty seamless and very clear. So almost better than the original's opacity. But the workaround that I always used, particularly in the image that I showed,
Destro from
Star Brigade Destro, the sort of armored helmet dude. Where was it now?
While you're looking for that,
it photographs well from the front, but around the back,
you turn it around, it's got that black. But it's nice though, because it kind of like a little bit of armor.
That like sort of Votoms look.
Yeah,
hey man, it works. I think it's a good fit, but then again, I think my vintage or my original, the Sector Viper pictured here might have some slight gapping on his shoulders, so maybe that helmet has done that. It was a fix that I did as a child, so forgive me. I wasn't keen on my preservation skills back then.
In the Sunbow show, the My Favorite Things episode, there's a very cool scene with is it My Favorite Things that does it now? I'm trying to remember, but there's submarines that are the GI Joe submarines. I mean the Cobra submarines, and then they become tanks as well.
Oh really?
Oh, it's not that. It's actually not that episode. It's the most dangerous thing in the world. Sorry.
Okay.
Is the one. And
I remember they do dive, like the 1986 team do dive down into, I don't know, Atlantis.
But these
they
blue
fight
tanks.
Cobra.
Yeah, well, there's
fights Serpentor underwater.
I think there is that, and then later on, Serpentor attacks the Joe base, and he's got a whole bunch of these submarines that actually come onto land with these tank dreads and things. It might actually make for an interesting toy. Which is probably what somebody said when they saw the initial designs, and that might have. I think that may have prompted the design of the Cobra Bug. I wonder. I wonder if it was a case of like Sunbow had heard, Hasbro is actually making a submarine that can go on land, and then they're like, we don't have any pictures for you, so come up with something that you think would make sense, and then because that's there, and the bug is that. Anyway, it's really cool. So
the love bug.
The love bug.
All right,
I would love boats if you prefer. Is it me next?
Toss something onto the fire, my friend. Let's watch those flames rise.
This dude. This dude.
Don't toss him onto the fire.
Yeah, no, I won't toss this on the fire. Not just this dude, not just this toy in particular, but Storm Shadow. I love Storm Shadow. It's a crazy, crazy thing for me because when I was younger, like many of us, it was always Snake Eyes. It's like Snake Eyes this, Snake Eyes that, blah, blah, blah. I never grew up in a time where Storm Shadow was a bad guy. I always knew him as a good guy. I've always known Storm Shadow as a GI Joe. Now my headphones are getting stuck. Anyway, so I always thought, okay, cool. He's like the other ninja to Snake Eyes. And, as a kid, I was always like, when your friends like all grab the cool toys and then you're left with the non-cool toy or whatever it is. So Storm Shadow was always the second best toy. Snake Eyes was always the way to go. David would run ahead of me to Dion's. Sometimes we'd actually run against each other to get to the toy shop so that he could get the cooler ones before me. And I was just like, I couldn't be bothered, actually. Um, but yeah, I was always Storm Shadow because of that. And as I've gotten older, I've learned to really appreciate Storm Shadow's character, because here's a guy that's gone from being a good guy to being a bad guy to going back to being a good guy that has now got all of the sins of the past, of his past, of being a bad guy with him, that like sticks with him. Exactly. And you've got this character that I just feel is in a lot of ways a much more interesting story than Snake Eyes is. Ooh, shots fired. But he is my favorite thing about GI Joe. I just find he's more relatable in a lot of ways. Like, and I really, really like Storm Shadow, and I just feel like he works really well. He's not as much of a MacGuffin as Snake Eyes is. And yeah, and fun fact, I carry this Storm Shadow, this specific one, because the other one I wouldn't dare carry around with me. This is one I got when I was in the States for JoeCon. And he goes with me everywhere. This is like my lucky charm. This is my favorite thing. So like, this sticks with me everywhere I go. This is in my backpack or in my jacket pocket or something. And yeah, it's great. I love this toy. I love this character. It's kind of like a weird avatar, like a weird kind of guardian angel for me. And that's Storm Shadow.
Which is the greater Storm Shadow, though?
Dude,
do you prefer?
I don't know which.
The Fun School one. This one.
Oh, there he is.
That's the best version.
Is that the off-white? Yeah, I prefer this one. I think there's
He's
something
so much
about its
better.
vintage quality that I just really love.
I just wish she could see it.
But this has always been my this was my first understanding. When people talk about Storm Shadow when I was a kid, this was how I imagined Storm Shadow, was this version.
This is the best
always.
version.
Until I watched the Sunbow show and saw this one.
You and your American toys.
But yeah, they're so good.
Although he also needs a new O-ring. He's dying a little bit.
Has he got ninja kicking action? Mine is okay. He's getting
well,
there.
no, his
He's getting
O-ring. He's really loose in the chest. Yeah, actually, yeah. If I were to pull this very slightly right now, it would snap.
Oh,
yeah.
well then don't pull it slightly.
Pull it
greatly.
Come on, go crazy.
Just.
Yep. Rob, you owe us a favorite thing, my friend.
A favorite thing. One of my favorite things was
what gets you giddy. What gets you in the mood?
So what? Well, I suppose it's more like what got. Well, I like that I have a friend who owns a ton of vehicles, so I don't have to own them. So as a child,
who's this friend?
It's Steven. It's you, Steven. As a child, I didn't have a lot of vehicles, so it was always a lot of fun to be able to go around to Steven's place and play toys. I mean, I didn't just go there because of the vehicles. I mean, we had a really good time together, and he's later on he was really good at making popcorn. Early on, his dad and his mom were really good at making food. I mean, they're still good at making food now, but I mean, well, I don't know about now, but I mean, up to at least 5 years ago, they were pretty good at making food when I last had meal at their house. But it was always cool because I already owned the figures, so it was always one of my favorite things was going to around Steven's place and playing with the vehicles. I mean, only a couple of years ago did I finally actually get a Warthog. The Warthog was one of the coolest vehicles to be able to play with. And while Steven absolutely loved the Bug, I think overall preferred the Hammerhead. I mean, it's kind of like the second place because obviously I can't like the Bug because Steven always had the Bug. So of course I was like, I guess I like you now.
The Hammerhead second
like,
place
I have
to
no
the Bug?
choice. I don't think it is. In my mind, I don't think
it
the Hammerhead
is
is much
either.
better than the Bug. But
Dual first place. Come on.
I just like the more sleeker design. The Commander looks cooler to me. He looks like a cool Cobra, Cyclops dude. And I think it looks more sort of sleek. It looks more dangerous, and it comes with cool. I mean, I think it has more, submersibles and stuff as well. So that's pretty cool.
It certainly
and the submersibles
is
look cool.
The Bug, like
It's the Bug Mark II.
Through
better.
the lens of the 90s,
Bug.
where it was like, let's rip the roof off the fun factor.
Because let's just throw the fun away. Let's just make this.
Well, like I mentioned earlier, like you could invite just a gang of friends around to play with this one toy. So
it was a play feature all in itself. I mean,
There you
that's why I'm saying I think. I suppose, yeah. So it would be like vehicles, or being able to play at your house, having a friend who actually owned vehicles. I mean, having toys. I remember playing with other friends, and I think none of us really had any vehicles. We were just kind of like stuck there playing with the figures and kind of like moving around with carpets and
Hang on.
just doing stuff.
I'm confused. Were you talking about the hammerhead just now?
I was
Or the
talking about the
Warthog?
hammerhead, yes.
Ah, okay.
The hammerhead, yes. The Warthog is pretty cool
Yeah.
too. I'm saying vehicles in general. It's cool to have.
Okay.
One of my favorite things was that I had a friend who owned vehicles for the line, because I mean,
And that's
it
kind of
makes
what's
such a big
missing.
difference,
Like, we now need a HasLab to get a significant vehicle.
Yeah. Well,
Um,
back then it was just every year they were producing 6 or 7 different vehicles.
GI Joe
in
is a
various sizes.
vehicle heavy toy line, vehicle focused toy line. And that's why I can never make the transition to being a 6-inch collector.
Yeah, it's not gonna. There's none of vehicles. There's 2 bikes at this point. Is it 2 bikes and that's it, right? There's 2 bikes.
Yep.
It's a 1.5 bikes.
Yeah, but still,
Danny about time. Good morning, Florida.
It's a green bike
Hello.
and then half of something that resembles a bike.
But I think, I
Okay.
think it's being able to play with vehicles. I mean, just absolutely transformed your playtime. I mean, what you could do was just so much more varied than just having the actual action figures in front of you playing with them. So yeah, definitely, I think, so I suppose that favorite thing would be having a friend who had vehicles. Maybe my favorite thing is GI Joe vehicles. Maybe I could be
Not
more
having a
generic.
friend.
Uh-oh.
No, not having the friend. I mean,
Not having a
it's cool. I was just glad that I could play with the vehicles, But no, I think
yes.
it would be having a friend who had vehicles for the GI Joe line. It just kind of cements your appreciation for the toy line overall. The figures are cool. The vehicles just make it absolutely next level.
Yeah, having friends
so much
round
more.
to play with my vehicles.
That too, yeah.
That's
You know?
pretty key. Yeah, yep.
It makes a
It
huge
was-
difference. If you're sitting there alone with your vehicle, you're just like, okay, I have the bug. I could fit
Well-
10 figures in here, but like, how am I going to manipulate all of these figures?
I was that
Can't.
kid.
You need Wesley.
I was the kid on the block who everyone would come over to my
cartwheel
house.
the figures.
this
had that
lucky
problem too.
kid with
You know?
loads and loads of vehicles. Where is the Barracuda love, says Darren? Well, hopefully everyone who's a fan of Joburg has seen our review of the Barracuda 1991, 92.
Yeah, for sure. We definitely loved it 6 years ago.
We loved that toy, and we loved the fact that it is GI Joe's rather puny David and Goliath answer to the bug and the hammerhead. But in terms of just a quality toy, it could never surpass those Cobra entries. Cobra
No, for sure.
won
It's a
in the
one-man
aquatic
vehicle,
scenario
with a play feature.
That's
It doesn't. There's no like comparison. I think between the Cobra submersibles versus GI Joe submersibles.
And
Can't do
shots
it.
fired, guys, but I don't think the whale is meant to go on the open waters. That's not a deep watercraft. So, yeah, Cobra
My
kind
goodness.
of wins on the surface as well. Unless you're counting
Yeah,
Shark
well,
9000,
it's more of a
which I suppose I
coastal.
do.
It's more of a coastal vehicle. I think the whale would be, because it has
but
it's
Joan-
able to go on land and water. But I mean, it's crossing the water to get to the next bit of land. It's not,
Yeah.
traveling
Yeah.
from one continent to another, as it were.
And now, Paulie, you're going to have to put down Storm Shadow and
Put 'em
pick
down.
up a video game controller because, oh, guys.
When you're
No
ready.
way.
The prelude to this is...
He's been waiting the whole time.
I
Actually, he's
had
been playing
my-
the whole episode.
Back in 92, I had a good friend, probably my best friend of my school years, and we would have epic battles over at his place. I would take my bug, my warthog, whole bunch of other things, stuff them into a hiking backpack. I mean, it's unthinkable to do that to my vehicles now. Like how I didn't break off, tabs and aerials and things. I don't know. I guess the plastic was just young. And I trundled off to Lyle's house. And Lyle had Joe figures, not so many vehicles, which is why I suppose it was essential that I brought mine. But what he did have was a Famicom. and a GI Joe Nintendo Entertainment System.
Did he have a
Taxan
Famicom or
game.
did he have a Golden China or an Ending Man or
Okay,
a...
it was probably a golden china or whatever. It was grey, but it was definitely the Famicom style cartridges, which were proliferated in South Africa. Anyways, he had Taxan's 1990 GI Joe game. Oh, so good. And Paul, you put it very succinctly on this very same podcast. Well, not this episode, but on our one of our previous shows, that like the video game was like an almost instructional on how to play with your GI Joe toys. So it gave us this incredible structure to our games. Okay, firstly, we'd structure our day because I'd always arrive, unpack the bags, set everything up, then we'd sit in front of the TV and play this game until it basically bested us, which didn't take long because we were dumb kids. I mean, I think we only clocked it once. We only finished it once.
Oh, it would be so easy.
Is clocking international? Is that a South African
African
colloquialism? Okay.
What is
To
it really?
To clock a game means to beat the
Cold
last
clock it.
boss.
Yeah.
I'll just say clock. We clocked it,
Yeah,
Finish.
Yeah, it's like basically you smack the... You've knocked it out. Yeah, you've
Huh.
knocked it.
Well, I thought
That's
it might
wild.
be to do
I
with
thought
like
that everyone understood that.
playing chess and you like hit that clock. No,
Oh, man, no, I wasn't very.
God, this
I
is
wasn't
South
very
Africa we're
big
talking
into
about.
chess.
you set your best time. Anyway, whatever. Like the speedrunner generation of video game players should really take on this term because
I think clocking is a cool term. We should
it's
make
a
it.
great word. Should be international. Anyways, we
Make
only
clocking
clocked
great
it
again.
once or twice. Most of the time, it would, as most NES games would to a youngster, it would teach us a few lessons in patience and like how to get your ass kicked. Anyway, so we'd put down the video game controllers and take up our figures, and it would play out much the same way as the NES game. We'd fight our way through a level filled with cannon fodder and baddies, and then get to a boss and face off against the boss. I mean, it's just a great structure that was kind of a wash, rinse, repeat through various points of the house. We start in the bedroom, move to the kitchen countertop, move to the lounge, move out into the garden, each one representing a different stage with different sets of challenges. And this game was all of that and more to me. And what is so important about this game for a Joe fan who's a little late to the party, like myself and Lyle and you two gentlemen, is the fact that this game was representative of the figures available at the time. It was useless for us to watch episodes of the cartoon or even read the comic books, which primarily focus on figures that we could no longer get. The Flints, the version 1 Dukes, Snake Eyes with the visor. The Snake Eyes version we had available on shelves was the one with the 2 butterfly knives on his chest. So the fact that this had Captain Gridiron as a major playable character gave that figure credibility. All of a sudden, like, I can
Definitely
distinctly
become a
remember,
favorite.
I can distinctly remember the words coming out of Lyle's mouth. He was like, "Mommy, buy me a Captain Gridiron." There by shop right there. Okay, I'm sending him up hopelessly, but basically he instructed his mom to pick him up a Captain Gridiron when she went to the supermarket, and mommy dutifully did. Hey,
I
Because
still
there's so
want to
many of
grab
them
one of
left
those.
over.
I so badly want one of those figures back in my collection. Not back in. I never had Captain Gridiron. Everybody else around me did.
Now you
Well,
get him.
he's
It's literally the
much-
last figure I need for the video
He's
game.
a lampooned character, and his appearance on Deke never really helped his cred. But his appearance in this video game made him the must-buy figure. He was a cool guy, and I'd like to think that when you set the bombs in the game, it's his hand in the animation in the little cinematic, little cutscene, because he's got the cut-off gloves, and that was always the coolest element of that sculpt. He's got great gloves, cut-off gloves with the cutout in the actual top of the palm, or the back of the hand. Yeah, man, this game. Oh, Paul just died. He's doing a playthrough for those of you listening on
So
the
annoying.
He's,
replay.
At least
Yeah,
you
yeah,
guys
but
know
he's-
it's legit.
Mhm.
He's trying to do it like as if he was playing it when he was a kid, you know.
And
Not so good.
I probably played it better.
in terms of a game itself, as GI Joe fans, we were treated to something that has never been repeated, and that, for the time, is the fact that this is a top tier title. It has no rhyme or reason, being a good platformer, but it is not just a good platformer; it is an excellent platformer. And I mean, I'm no Nintendo head. What would you call them? I'm no gamer.
Nintendo.
Nerd.
I defy any fan of the
Turnhead.
Nintendo Entertainment System to not put this in their top 10 platformers available for the system. And that means it beats out a lot of very good titles. But it's so intuitive. It feels so good. It's very playable. It's challenging, but not impossibly so. And for a G.I. Joe fan, it is full of Easter eggs. Just looking at all the sprites on display, the characters that you play as, but not only the characters that you play as, but the characters that you face off against. Even down to the little cannon fodder. Like they've got
Oh,
Norgahide's wild boar, Clyde, attacking you in the first level.
I
They've
love
got
that it has a name.
the Devil Ray. Well, if only Hydro Viper's Ray had a name, because that is also, a sprite that jumps out of the water and attacks you. Paul's right now fighting against the Sea Ray, which was no longer sold, but when this game was being sold, but is kind of at this point a legacy Cobra vehicle that made for a great level 2 kind of intermediary vehicle boss, and it's so beautifully pixel rendered. Yeah, this game is full of win for a G.I. Joe fan and is easily one of my favorite things. Paul, I know you got something to say about this.
Ooh, dude, yeah. I mean, the cool thing about this game, it allowed me to play with GI Joe toys that I didn't have, which was awesome.
Yeah,
So
totally.
yeah, I mean, I've owned this game on 3 different occasions. The first time I owned it was, I got it like actually not 3, 2 different occasions. I got it when I was younger. It was like really awesome. In fact, I actually had the Atlantis Factor first. Then I tracked down the second game, and it was great, and I loved the hell out of it. My buddy and I, we worked together to finish it and all that. And then after, like, as things happen to your games consoles and stuff, I lost it. I didn't have it anymore. And I then found a cheap sort of knockoff NES thing again in the shops. I can't even remember. I think it was Toys R Us that actually had it. And it had the little grey cartridge of this game for there in Westgate. And it was so cool because I could finally like play this again. And I was playing this game in high school quite a lot. This just brought me a lot of joy, is this game. And shit, dude. This was just my way of playing with toys I never had and seeing toys I never had. And I think in a lot of ways, this game kept the fire going for me, for G.I. Joe. It kept the torch going for a long time. I mean, you just saw that now, that like the cool Night Viper and yeah. Anyway, sorry, you were gonna say something, Steve?
they even made the air command things cool.
The battlecopters, yeah, with the interrogator. I mean, this was the reason I pined for not just the interrogator action figure, which we can all agree is an excellent figure, but the bloody battlecopter as well, because it has credibility from this game. That's why I bought a Pogo. That's why I love the Cobra rocket sled, which you see, guys piloting, and then you blow this up and they fall off. You saw it in the previous level. All the toys featured in this game are so beloved by me. Like, it's the reason I love Battle Armor Cobra Commander, or Raptor, who you have blown past in terms of the levels already, but
Yeah,
he's
sorry.
an intermediary boss in the sort of the first level, and I don't think Raptor has a finer moment, and that goes for a lot of characters. Captain Gridiron, Raptor, Voltar. These are characters that didn't get much shine, and yet they were the characters that I imprinted on because they were the ones that were available to me and that filled out my collection. So it was so nice to see them given their glory by this game. So I'm so glad this game used the second stringers, or third stringers by that point. Anyways, we could talk about this game all day. Fortunately, thanks to Range Viper Rob, we did a
We don't have
playthrough
to.
of both. Yeah, we did a playthrough of this and a commentary accompanying the playthrough on this very channel. We'll link it in the description below and also at the end of the video if you stay to the end of this podcast on YouTube. Paul, you're up, brother. Your final favorite.
Does this mean I
thing.
have to? I gotta pause now.
Yes, you could carry on playing. Rob, if you want to
Nah,
talk over this.
No, I just want to leave. I'm gonna leave this there because it looks cool.
It
I love
looks
the colours.
amazing.
Yeah,
that
guys.
magenta
So
and that teal of this
it's
level.
so
The Cobra
it's
Arctic
synthwave.
face.
Oh, I love it. It's got such a cyberpunky vibe. So, okay, so this might seem
Oh, and
like
Chris
a
wants
cop
to
out.
know about your secret route backup. Well, check out the playthrough, Chris. You'll find it on the channel. Just search GI Joburg, Taxan, GI Joe game. I don't know. It should just come up with Taxan and GI Joburg.
Also, guys, if you want to play this game and you don't have a retro console to hand, you don't have like an original Famicom or NES with all those fancy things, you can. There is an emulator called Retrobit. It's available actually on Steam, or it's actually available on Steam. It's free for you to download. Where you get the games from, that's up to you entirely. But the emulators are out there and they are legal. The emulators are legal. It's the ROMs that are naughty. Just putting that out
Datalinks
there.
wants to know about the AAA game, ? And I've heard the rumor that there is a G.I. Joe AAA game in the works. But then again, I've also heard the rumor that there's a live-action Amazon Lady J TV series. So
Yeah, but
sometimes
we
we
no
often
new word
hear
about
these
that for a
rumors.
while.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, the
Hear
AAA
rumor
game's
and
looking
then
for an
they
art director. So,
Oh, really?
Oh,
yeah.
wow,
That's
cool.
encouraging.
Yeah, on
Cool.
yeah. No, I'm looking into it. It's a
Good.
thing. But yeah, my
fucking amazing.
my favorite thing.
Loacher from GI Joburg as art director on Lady J.
Hell yeah.
I'm the biggest fan. I fucking love Lady J. Ah!
I even came to my interview dressed up as her. And,
Exactly. That's so cool. That's so much you love her.
I'm Allison
You're like,
B.
you're hard.
Allison RB, should I say? Sorry.
Alison
So-
RB?
Yeah, Allison R. Burnett.
Oh, jeez. You caught me off guard, man. I thought you were saying like Alison Brie.
No, Arby's.
Who would
you
actually
know?
be-
We had
yeah.
food there while we were in the States
Yeah,
once.
yeah.
So
So
good.
it was good. It was good. I preferred Champies, but that's me. Anyway, this is gonna sound like such a cop out when I
It
say
is,
it like
though.
this, because maybe I'm secretly a dragon, but I love my toy collection, my GI Joe toy collection. Like when I was moving home to my new space here, that was like one of the first things I made sure was ready and packed and ready to go and come here. Like my Joe collection. My Joe collection seems to travel with me, as well as my vintage game collection. Like my vintage games, like my Sega Saturn stuff and whatever. But so right now in this studio, in my studio room here in the house, my GI Joe collection is, well, currently nestled in the cupboard. Often that box is out and it's open and I'm pulling out toys and whatever. And I'm slowly smuggling my vehicles in here. But it's a process. You can't move big vehicles in here at a time. I mean, my most recent victory is I managed to get this into the house. So it's little bits by little bits. Can't build Rome in a day.
It's a very big vehicle.
But I love my toy collection, and I'll tell you why. It's more than just like having all these toys and whatever to play with. It's a combination of poring over the catalogs like crazy when I was a kid, and wishing I could have a lot of those toys, if not all of them, and sort of lamenting the fact, but even back then, that I'd probably missed them, that they had already come out and gone, that it was just maybe bigger kids had bought them already, that kind of thing. So having my toy collection is kind of full circle for that in a lot of ways. It's also, I can't think of anything from my childhood. Like, I mean, I love Turtles and I love Ghostbusters and those great things. But even the turtles, the love I have for the turtles in terms of owning them as a toy line, that even has a limit. You know what I mean? Whereas with GI Joe, I don't have that limit. With GI Joe, I still love it now, and I still love that collection now. And that collection is a result of the Berg Force, you know, like and this GI Joburg, you know, madness that we do. A lot of some of the best pieces in my collection come from us having started this and being in touch with people and just becoming sort of like a port of call for a lot of GI Joe fans here locally as well in some weird way. But yeah, I love my collection. I love that I have all of these toys to play with, and you know, and it's great. It's a great feeling. It's great to be able to be annoyed by my alarm, which I don't know why it's going off, but it's going off anyway. But it's great to have all of these toys to hand. It's great to be able to pick up Ali Viper, a toy
Your
that I
phone
pined
is
for
telling
as a
you
child.
to wrap this up, just like your
Yeah.
speech to the academy. It's like,
Yes, yeah.
start
I
playing
just
the
also
theme
want to say
tune.
thank you to my third grade teacher. If you weren't such a bitch, it wouldn't have inspired me to be great. And to the academy, and if I anyway, cool guys. Yeah, that's it. Sorry, I know it sounds like such a cop out, but I did think long and hard about this, and it's my collection.
Photo
I'm a
Viper
dragon.
wants a Joe game like Metal Gear, and the
So do
mind
I.
races to
Oh,
what
that'd
that
be
would be
a lot of
like.
fun.
But I will say this much. In answer to the previous question, way back in the beginning of the episode, I would love to see, done well, a live action Metal Gear Solid adaptation.
Oh yeah, I think
They could get that right.
we've
It lends
mentioned
itself
this
well.
several times. Yeah, like that would be absolutely incredible if they could manage that. But I suppose he feels the video games for themselves stand alone. I mean, you know, you can't. Apparently, they've rediscovered this again, but you can't really do anything really well live action, unfortunately, when you adapt a video game. Apparently, the Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City movie is absolutely horrendous.
Awesome.
As they
Okay.
attempt to adapt Resident Evil 1 and 2 into one entire movie.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, because that always works.
That's a really good idea. Let's just adapt 2, 12, 14, whatever many hour, anyway, into one movie. That's a good idea.
Jeez, Paul, don't podcast and game at the same time because you are hopeless.
Yeah,
Truly.
man.
Cool.
I was like, what the hell? Anyway, it's fine. I've got it. Rob, I agree with you.
Thank you very much. Well, I'll still watch it. I'm curious to see how bad it is. I mean, I watched basically all of the Mila Jovovich Resident Evil movies. I think maybe I haven't seen.
And
the last
nobody
one or
paid you
two.
to.
No one paid me to watch those.
Did you watch
I still
Monster
them
Hunter?
Anyway. I haven't watched Monster Hunter yet.
Good.
I
Get
do
somebody
plan
to pay
on
you to do it
once.
first. Because no.
Maybe I
People
will,
just
maybe
handing
I
out
will.
money, I believe, for watching shitty films.
Yeah. It's called being a reviewer.
Exactly. That's the only reason to watch a bad movie, to get paid to do it. So what is my third favorite thing from my favorite thing in GI Joe? I think it's going to probably come as quite a surprise. I don't think anyone will see this one coming. That one of my absolute incredible, like my top tier amazing things about GI Joe is Scoop. Scoop is so great. I don't know if I've ever said this before, but Scoop is there's a little bit more light. Scoop is absolutely incredible. This is my childhood version of Scoop. He's still an absolutely incredible good Nick. So
How's
the
that
origin
thumb?
story of Scoop. I think my mother basically was very much against the violent figures. I mean, at that point, I probably had a whole bunch of Heman and Thundercats figures. I mean, swords apparently is fine. You can hack people to death. But the minute you start shooting them, my mom had a line. No
Like
shooting.
nudity in films,
only
dude.
stabbing. Only stabbing. No shooting.
People
So
can kill each
my
other on
options
screen,
are
but
very
boobs are
limited.
bad. I feel
Exactly. Violence versus sexiness, and Scoop is both.
Rob,
In
what is it
buckets.
about Scoop
Absolute
particularly?
buckets. I think Scoop, the look of the figure is very it comes together very well. So you have this kind of like the mustard, the green, it comes together. I mean, he has a very straightforward look. And the look of the figure as well kind of says a lot. Like, I think his face is very unique. I mean, based off an actual person, Michael Leonard's. He has a very unique look, which is probably why, I mean, I also really like who's that ugly guy who drops out of the airplane?
Ugly guy who
Well.
drops out of the airplane.
With the girlfriend. What's his name again?
What the hell?
I forgot it now.
It's coming up on 2 a.m.
The
down,
Halo jumper.
down under.
The Halo jumper with the girlfriend in the furry suit. What's his name again?
Ripcord.
Ripcord, yes.
Wallace
Ripcord is another cool figure because his look is very different. It's unique. You know, he doesn't look like the average Joe. And I don't think Leonard Michaels looks like the average Joe. He looks like an intelligent person. He has curly hair, which I think most Joes have kind of straight hair. I think that's pretty unique. And the equipment he comes with, so this is my original one, and this is the one I bought at Kokomo Toys, but in our trip. He has very cool equipment. His equipment is different from the average Joe. I mean, he comes with the telecommunications device. He comes with his camera, and he comes with a silenced pistol, which makes complete sense. Instead of giving him a pistol that makes noise, he comes with a silenced pistol so he can keep filming and kill people. And it doesn't ruin the shot, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Scoop is so amazing. I mean, thankfully, I was gifted a sealed version.
That is so
Thank
rad.
you, Jason. That comes to us from Jason Merle of Order of Battle podcast.
It is absolutely incredible. I will never
Massive
ever
props.
open this.
Christmas of 2018 was a bumper Christmas.
He will never get his O-ring repaired. I think it's his O-ring that's a bit damaged, but that's fine. He doesn't have to ever come out of this packaging. And it's cool.
Has the O-ring given up?
The O-ring is dead. It is.
Interesting.
Very much dead inside there. I mean, you probably
Dead
can't
inside.
see it. He's dead inside, but he's still holding it together because he's inside his little plastic packaging. He will
he's
forever
in there
last
tight,
like
man.
this.
I
He's
wouldn't
good.
have. I wouldn't have known that the O-ring was shot.
Yeah, no, but he's good.
Okay.
He's good. He's surviving. He comes with the original price. He was bought at a Toys R Us somewhere in America. He apparently comes with the face paint, which I mean, I don't think I'll be able to ever put that on my face. It's
Probably
not gonna be
very
good.
hard.
$2.69, guys. If you back in the day, that's how much you were paying for your scoops. $2.69.
Those were the days.
And he even translates well into modern era.
Oof.
This is the
It's a
GI
procession
Joe
of
Club.
scoops.
GI Joe Club exclusive scoop, which I also, on the last day, I ummed and ahed about this figure so much. I was like, should I get it? Should I not get it? Because I think the price the guy was asking for was like
I'm so glad you did though.
$10 to $15 above the recommended. Not recommended, but it was like, it was a bit more. But I think I was like, I only have this much in cash. And then I think he was like, okay, no, chill. You can have it for that much.
Oh.
And essentially, I think it was just a little bit over what the original recommended, whatever it, sold for originally.
Yeah, man. So, this is also JoeCon 2018, correct?
Yes. This was a JoeCon 2018. The last day, I was like, it was the only scoop I saw there. I mean, maybe there were more, but I think people by that point were already kind of like buying him out, because they knew how cool Scoop was. So
they had scooped him up already.
Yeah.
Rob spread the good word far and wide.
Absolutely. So definitely Scoop is. So I think the look of the figure is. It all comes together very well. His function on the battlefield, I think, is very important and very unique. I don't think there's another GI Joe character that kind of fulfills his function on the battlefield.
Watches people die.
Exactly.
So,
he just
Rob,
watches people die, and he helps them.
The question on everyone's lips is when will GI Joburg do a review of Scoop?
I don't know. Well, I mean, I was hoping to do a Operation Ice Cream Scoop before that. But I think I can,
about it.
While I wait for that, before 2032 comes around and you're back in South Africa, maybe I will actually just do a Scoop review, and I can get your guys' voices on that.
Awesome.
some
The
too
nice thing
selfish,
is
and
that
I'm
we won't have
like-
to wait for the Macross movie then, because we'll be living it.
Exactly.
So,
Absolutely. That's so true. But I
What,
think
an
definitely
alien
I should actually
spacecraft is
do
gonna
a
crash?
review.
yes.
It's gonna come
Oh.
on down. It's coming.
Okay.
I mean, NASA apparently is testing out knocking asteroids out of the way of Earth. Just watch, they knock it so that it actually comes towards Earth. Like that's gonna be amazing.
Of course.
Oopsie.
the moon.
So this asteroid was nowhere in danger of hitting the Earth, but now we've kind of like knocked it so it's on its way here. Sorry,
Whoopsie.
guys. Guess we
Well, call
Better
Bruce
luck next
Willis
time.
and Ben Affleck. Steve Buscemi.
I'm gonna close my eyes.
I don't know if,
fell asleep.
I don't know if we can count on Bruce giving a shit, to be honest.
And I don't want to miss a thing.
He'd be like, "Can I shoot it from like my house? Just put a green screen up
Guys,
behind me."
please, just yeah, let me sit down here. CG
No,
a
Bruce-
gun in my hand.
You actually have to go into space this time. It's like, yeah, whatever.
For
Just,
reals.
bring your
I mean,
guys around.
I guess if Captain Kirk can go in space, I can go in space too.
Zero effort.
How many
Oh,
other dicks
okay.
are they gonna send into space? Let's be fair. Oof, I didn't say that.
How dare
But like,
you?
let's be
William
fair.
Shatner's a
Shatner is.
treasure.
Oh
He's a
yes,
treasure.
yeah, no, he's a special
How dare
treasure. I
you.
believe he's wonderful.
amazing. He is. I saw him live at Comic Con Africa. He was absolutely amazing. I saw his belly. It was very much the belly of a
Thank
good
you.
man.
No corset. Guys.
No,
okay.
of course it's he just lets it out, you know.
The Buzzball is on screen currently, and man, oh man, if it wasn't for this
That
game,
would
I
have
would
been
have
a favorite. That would have
absolutely
been a
no
favorite,
love. No love for that
but
vehicle otherwise.
We got it so late in life. Yeah, we didn't get
Really,
these as
Paul?
kids. Did Paul die again, guys? Apparently.
Yeah,
No,
but it
good.
was stupid. It was a stupid thing. It was.
Well, it's time to rock on, Paul. You need to devote your undivided to this game. So on our way out, guys, I'm going to open up Postbox the Pit. If you want to reach the
Ooh.
show, just hit our email address, arealsouthafricanhero@gmail.com, or just DM us anywhere we're social, be it Twitter, be it Instagram, be it the Facebook, or YouTube. Hey, YouTube comments are also
MySpace.
fodder. I love replying to the YouTube comment thread, so by all means, guys, keep up the posting. Thank you to everyone who does like or subscribe to our channel, like this video, comment on it. All these things help our analytics. Not that we're chasing numbers, but it's always
No,
nice
obviously
if-
not. But it's always
YouTube
nice.
just
for
helps
everybody to
other
be
people
we're
see
so
our stuff.
cool.
Exactly.
other
It's
people
good
other
for
people.
YouTube to throw us up in people's faces.
Exactly.
We have to, of course, thank our awesome Berg Force, the fine contributors to the show. These are them. The number grows all the time. We do this live for a Patreon audience, perhaps at an awkward time of day. But then again, when you're podcasting from 2 or 3 different time zones every day, every time
The
of day is awkward.
best that we can do.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But you would be able to watch this live just like you're doing right now. And if you didn't catch it live, you'd be able to catch it a full day before its release on Podbean or
Oh
your
my
podcatcher
goodness.
or the YouTube channel. So if you wouldn't mind tossing us $3 a month, that would be greatly appreciated. Buy
Or
us a
more.
cup of coffee.
I mean, don't hold back.
Or just, as I say, support us in any way you can, like watching
Another
this
way
stuff.
you can support us is buying scoops. Buy yourself a scoop. Get yourself wine. If I can earn 4, you can earn 1.
Outstanding.
Outstanding.
And thanks to the 27 folks in the chat. I think we had up to 31 at one point. Awesome.
thank you to
awesome
everyone
see
for
a
joining
little,
us.
So
live.
cool.
That you're
Little
able to
live
do that.
turnout.
It was probably a very strange time for y'all.
It's
But,
great hanging out
on
with you guys
Jens-
live. We should do this more often. I'd love
We
to
should.
aim at doing this once a month.
Once
our
a year. I like it.
Rapidly aging faces on camera again.
Oh, we're very old now.
Liveberg.
I'm gonna have to moisturize.
And I said I was going to
next
open
time.
up to Postbox the
pit.
Pit. Yeah, so I did what is fast becoming my new favorite thing, a one-shot review.
Word.
Basically, it's 0 edits. It can be done on the fly anywhere I have my mobile phone and a toy.
Oh, you can make it a
I can
story.
shoot and upload a video. No, it's not a one-e
Not
story.
even a
It's
story.
a review. I reviewed the Toxo Zombie,
Whoa,
and
that's wild.
Dave C, who was in the chats, wrote back immediately and said, "Hey guys, what a great review on that 1992 Toxo Viper. I had
He's
no
the best
idea he was
version of
this
Shockwave."
cool. So thanks for all your hard work and always making this awesome content. Rock on, Dave C." Thank you, Dave. Means a lot, man.
Thank you,
Glad you
Dave
enjoy the
C.
content. I can really knock these out. And while I will always miss the more produced videos, I realize, like, in terms of getting my thoughts out there, these are servicing that need. So the need to get a review of a cool toy out, it's a great way of doing it, which doesn't require copious
much
amounts of
PT.
editing and whatnot. And our wonderful Bergforce community out there, lap it up, man. It might not win us any new subs or anything,
The
because
awards.
they all want to see the flag floating on water or the Defiant or whatever. But these reviews are really great, and they're really
It's
firing me
leg
up.
bends like
yeah.
this.
Well, I think I still have the best version of Shockwave. I mean, he's a little bit played with, but he's he's still toit, and he doesn't have any broken out.
I like the
fingers
Cobra
like Steven's
jetpack.
original one, but it's not so tight that Steven will be so horrified to even attempt to play with it.
Whatever, dude. This one has all those memories soaked into him. All my childhood sweaty,
That's-
grubby paws.
That's what I'm saying. That's fine.
After
But, like,
eating
I have the
a
best
bowl of
mix.
chips.
I have the best mix of I have the best of both worlds.
Well, I've got
he's
3 vintage
toit enough.
1988
You've 3?
Shockwaves now. So I can select. I've got
What?
gradings of
That's
quality.
insane.
Cody, who was in the chat just now, got me my second, and now Ryan my third, and they kind of go up in
That is insanity.
mintiness.
I think the only issue with mine is a slightly broken right elbow, and that's about it.
Well, I got a fix for you, pal.
What?
For more information, check out the Tim Wilde interview of GI Joburg. It should be dropping any day now.
I'm definitely
We
going to
will
watch
link you to
this.
that.
Now I
Yes.
have a reason to watch it, not just you guys being on it.
Outback just wants to remind us that Outback Tiger Force classified. Get
Absolutely.
excited.
Go get yourself one, guys. If you can't get a spirit, get an Outback.
If
Get
you
them
can't get
all.
one of these, get a
Or get
6-inch
them
guy.
all. Be like Paul. Just get all of them. Just go
Get them
crazy.
all.
All right.
I'm
And
actually
it's-
so
we're out,
excited about
boys.
that spirit, hey. It's crazy.
You are very excited.
I
can
am
tell.
excitable. I'm an excitable
This
person.
too.
Asking me
You're
to pick 3 of
exceptionally
my
excited.
favorite things was very difficult to do when I have so many favorite things.
Well,
But,
that's limitations breeds creativity.
And that's true. That is true.
It makes a big difference. Yeah, sorry, I did my light is terrible. I can't actually I don't know where to put it so it doesn't look so bad.
All right.
All
We're out,
well, there it
guys.
goes off.
Later, dudes. And once again,
Cheers,
thanks for
cheers.
joining us.
Thank
the
you to
live
everyone
gang.
for coming and joining us. It was a
We'll be back
fantastic
next
time.
week.
Hell yeah.
Peace. Joburg is so pretty as your burgs are so pretty.
Okay. He's running on fumes. Later.